Content for your lead gen as a life insurance agent or agency owner who's looking to scale to 40K months or do $1 million a month as an agency is key in actually creating the highest intent lead. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly why that is, what that looks like, and why internal lead generation is actually the difference maker, but content is going to be the engine that makes things go. If you're an agent and you are looking to grow or develop your business, this video is going to be super important for you. My name's Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab. In the past 3.5 years, we've helped over 550 agents issue pay $40,000 per month by leveraging our leads, marketing, and our systems. And we've now helped 4 agency owners scale to $1 million a month. So safe to say, I know what I'm talking about, but the purpose of this channel is for me to share insights, knowledge, wisdom, and things that I share with my clients to you all as kind of like free game. In hopes that you guys continue to grow and develop and hopefully just hit 40K months as agents or, grow your agency to $1 million a month. So without further ado, we're going to hop right into the video. So let's go ahead and let's kick it off. Make sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe. All right. So name of this video is why content makes a difference in the quality of leads, lesson in failures, and plays for 2026. Okay. So let's talk about content. All right. Now, when I say content, I do not mean content in regards to like traditional, posting on social media. Oh, I guess, I like to stay hydrated. So make sure I have that. I do not mean in regards to like traditional, hey, we're going to throw up like a picture or a video on our page and we're trying to post like Lambos and cars. Like, I actually think that's super dope, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the content that your client sees, right? So we call that front facing content for clients, or in this case for you as an agent, leads. All right. So we have tons of videos to talk about demographics, right? And demographic behaviors. Okay. But now today we want to talk about demographic content. Okay. So let's roll through it real quick. So you guys know what I say, 50 to 85. Okay. You've got, 20 to 60. And then you've got that like 30 to 70 crowd. Right. And these are different. I have tons of videos that break this down, but this is going to be traditionally more of like your final expense or your vets. This is going to be more of your, mortgage protection or simplified issue IULs. And then your 30 to 90 crowd will also be in here. So I guess these are 1 and 2. I apologize. This is going to be your like specialty niche. All right. Which, by the way, specialty niche just means like, not necessarily like truckers and nurses and doctors, more or less you have a unique offer or way that you sell life insurance. Like we work with people that, know how to leverage, tax benefits in a different way, right? They do estate planning, which is not the same as like traditional mortgage protection. So these are specialty niches because typically after 70, it's kind of hard for you to work what you need to. And then the last one, which I forgot to do, is just obviously going to be 59 plus, and you're looking more at your like annuity crowd. Okay. And to me, yeah, we'll just keep that simple. So first things first, not all content is created equally. Okay. So we're talking about lessons and failures, but also we'll start with content. So not all content is created equally. What I mean by that is that some demographics are better served than others. So if you're looking at something like final expense, right? If we break that down, you got 50 to 85-year-olds. Now, final expense is so simple. You don't really need to go hard and over explaining it. It's not like this unique thing. People know what covering your burial and casket is. It's like, okay, do you want it or not? There's not this, move around. We have to have this really detailed explainer. And because of that, your content, right, doesn't have to be insane to get the results. It's typically why you can see people who just run generic leads and still scale their agency if they're doing final expense. Right now, vets on the other end, here's the reason I'm making this video. So it's 2025, it's November, and there's this thing going on in the midst of the life insurance space between myself, other, if you want to call them big players, people that provide leads for like bigger agencies. And it's not inherently our fault. I'll be honest. A lot of it is just because there's so many, like if you guys go to the Facebook ad library and just look at like vet campaigns, which like, by the way, for the sake of this video, let's just go there. So Facebook ad library. All right. So let's go here. I just want to show you guys so you all understand like what's actually going on. It's like veteran life insurance. Okay. Right. So you have all these like people running like you got Trump on here, you got veteran IULs, you've got veteran benefits now, like you've got all these different things. So it's like, and this is look, this is 16 hours ago. So, like, if you think about it, right, you've got all these different videos and stuff. Like, what do you think is actually going to happen? Like, people are going to be confused. People are literally going to be confused on what they fill out. So, I see it all the time. We have the same people filling out forms over and over and over again. It's like, yo, there's only so many vets, and it's not that it's saturated because, but you have to find something unique. So, like, the thing that's going to distinguish you is like literally your content, the way that you can create your content and like what it's actually doing and how you position it. But there's so many of these. Like I said, this is, this is on the 24th, is 18 hours ago. Like look at all these different ads. By the way, guys, if you don't know, you can literally go here. But like, see, so like it's just there's just so many ads out here that it's like hard if you're filling out so many forms. So because of that, right, you have to find a way to distinguish yourself. You have to. If you're building an agency or you are running leads, you want to find a way to make a difference. So I had a conversation with one of our agency owners and I was explaining to him like, this is specifically why I don't like doing things that are easy, right? I like selling. I think selling to vets is simple, and I do think that it's very profitable if done correctly. But because it's so profitable and because it's simple, people are going to take an easy route to get those clients. And it's just like if final expense would hit as much as a mortgage protection, that's essentially what vet leads are. But the reason why so many people don't run as many vet ads, the reason why people don't have nearly as good of experience, they can't do it, is because most people don't even know how to sell mortgage protection. So it's hard. The thing with IULs, when we start talking about it, is that you have individuals that can really just sell a dream. And I have a whole video that goes into this. But the purpose of what I'm trying to say is this: the content itself has to be different. If it's not different, then you look like everybody I just showed you. And because of that, when people fill out forms, they get confused. So no matter what you're doing, right, you're still in the midst of like the whole crowd. So the way I look at it is this: the goal of you creating content to get clients through advertising is simply so you can increase the overall intent, right? So we see the way we do things, there's a 20% lift, right, when we go from to branded content. But that 20% lift is because we're doing things that are different. Now, if everybody's doing the same thing, the 20% lift is irrelevant, right? So when you're looking to create content, your goal should be to figure out what unique way that you can do things to help your client is, which in this instance would be final expense, would be vets. Now, if you're going down to mortgage protection and simplify issue IUL, there's a million different ways to cut it. Because the beautiful thing is, at this point, you're selling concepts that you like to do. So, like I have always said this, there are so many different ways you can sell somebody. All you have to do is create ads around ways to sell people. That's like your unique, method, if you want to call it. And the thing is that in order to grow and scale, you have to not be able to do that one time. You have to figure out how to consistently do that. It requires you to understand how to market. You can't just be an agent and be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to throw up some ads. Like the days of doing that are dead. That's why so many people are running into these self-gen people, but that wave is going to die too. Because at the end of the day, if you're just hopping on waves, but you don't actually have something that's sustainable, meaning you don't have staff, like you're just finding people who know how to run ads. And then the moment the ads stop working, like they're cooked because they don't actually know how to, know how to put up life insurance lead ads, but don't actually know how to market. So when you start hiring teams, they help you, but then you have your content because you may have an ads person who doesn't know how to create content. So you're just running ads. And you're like, oh, I got this thing. And it's like, yeah, but the leads aren't really good. And you're not distinguishing yourself as well as establishing your difference in the marketplace. You've got your specialty niche, which in my opinion is always going to be better because it's a specialty. Nobody else is doing it. So you're not going to have other people filling out forms saying the same thing if you're calling people properly. And then you've got your annuity crowd, which most people don't even venture into because they don't know how to sell it. And in that space, if you're a life insurance agent, and you're getting into the annuity space, you have an advantage because you're dealing with a lot of like financial advisors or people like typically that you're competing with. Okay. So the difference in lead quality comes in this. So the quality difference, right? That's the demographic content. So that's how you understand where that. The difference in quality of leads comes through, right? Your scripting and sales pitch. So I'll give you a perfect example. Choose vets. Okay, so you got vets. You got some people that focus on like veteran life insurance. You got some people that do veteran IUL. You've got some people that do like veteran benefits. People like Trump on there. You got some people like veteran benefits, not through the VA. Okay, same thing if you got like final expense. You've got burial plans. You've got final expense programs. You've got life insurance. You're going to see what I'm saying here in a second. Then you have casket/cremation plans. Here's what I mean. Each of these can be like, you can create content around it, then you can create scripts around it that then teaches you how to sell more. When I first started doing this, I was like, all right, cool, I'm just going to run ads for final expense and that's it, and we're going to run it. Then I was like, okay, I need to figure out like different ways to go down final expense to make it more profitable for the agents. Same thing with vets, same thing with IULs, same thing with mortgage protection. You can go on and on and on and on and on, but like that's when you have the difference, because when you understand how to pitch to those people and create ads and content around it, then you can start doing the next step, which is scripting. Okay, so that's gonna be the angle essentially. That's what we in marketing we just call this angles, right? Like what are the angles that you're coming at, and then what takes you to the next level. So the difference is actually in the scripting. So for example, let's just say I'm doing final expense. Actually, like this one, casket, final expense coverage for let's just do cremation to keep it simple because I don't want to go through explaining all that. So your ads, your angle, your voice, whatever you're doing is like, your goal is to create ads that talk about leveraging final expense to get cremated. So when you call people, right, it's like, hi, name, Trey at, XYZ, filled out our Facebook form about final expense coverage for cremation, listed XYZ as beneficiary. Now, here's the thing. The benefit is that now you can scale your agency, grow yourself, because you are kind of like positioning yourself as the person that does final expense coverage for cremation. So do you think that people will remember that more if all your ads, your whole content, your whole page, everything is talking about that? Yes. This is why people are so fascinated with these niches when they come out, because initially there's nobody else doing it. But then when there's a million people doing it, people like move. And that's why at the end of the day, it's like these just waves that you get on, but you're never getting ahead, because if everybody catches on the wave and it's not unique to you, what difference does it make? That's why you have to establish your own infrastructure, because then when you do that, you're going to say like, okay, cool. Well, I know that this is going to be this. Then I know also that because of that, I'm going, final expense coverage for cremation. All my ads are going to be like that. All my verses are going to be like that. So it's like, hey, as a senior, funeral costs are, $15,000 to $20,000. But what if I told you at XYZ, we had a way to help you get cremated for less than $10,000, right? Blah, 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 do the whole thing, click learn more. Like that is kind of how you would angle it from a scripting standpoint. And when I say scripting, I mean scripting in terms of the ads and the sales. Okay, so that's the difference, like scripted through ad scripting. Let me just be super clear. And then you have sales. So the ad scripting is what I just said. The sales scripting is, so this is the ad angle in scripts. I'm not going to come up with scripts here, but you all get the point, right? And then you have your sales script, which will essentially be this sales script, which will be here. right? And they have to be in alignment. If they're off in any sort of way, shape, or form, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. Simply because now when you call people, they have no relevance to what you were talking about. And if you just say, hey, you were like filling out this filing expense thing, it's like you lose leverage immediately. There's a lot of trust when you say, hey, John, yeah, this is Trey. You filled out our Facebook form at, blah, blah, blah. Now, this was specifically for filing expense coverage that gets better rates than being buried. This was specifically for cremation. I have your beneficiary listed as here, and then now you roll through and you have a higher percent closing because you've already pitched the idea. You create landing pages for it. Like this is the type of stuff you do when you help your agencies grow, but like you got to get into it and like really start to develop because it's all about angles. Like you got to come up with angles. Like, all right, this is my angle. This is how I'm going to do it. Then I'm going to be creative with it. Most agents and agency owners, they're not willing to be patient enough. So like even for us, it becomes difficult being transparent to always roll this out because most agents and agency owners, they can't think far enough to be like, all right, cool, man. Like I'm going to spend like you got to be willing to put up $100 a day and invest to figure out what works. That's the only way we come up with new like programs, new lead types for our clients. Is like we test. I spend upwards of $5,000 to $10,000 a month just on testing, like testing alone. Right, so just try them. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, try this. That didn't work. Okay, this cost per lead was here. Okay, give free leads away. Like I just test stuff out because the more you test things, the more leverage you get when you find something that works. It's like, okay, you try 10 things, but if one of them works, that makes you a ton of money. And it makes you different. It's like why I believe our leads are superior above others. And like, honestly, a mistake of mine, I tried to do things the way that a lot of other people did it, and it didn't really work out well. And it made me remember like why I don't really like trying certain things because it's like, there's a reason why I don't like that because there's too many people doing it that way. And I know how minds think. Like I already know when, like for me personally, when I run ads to get clients, I hear about the same 4 or 5 people. But the crazy thing is, I've been doing this long enough to where I know those same 4 or 5 people won't be here in the next 2 years. Some of them will. Some have been around for a while, but some of them won't be here. So it's like because of that, when I run ads, I already know what people are going to say. I already know what they've tried out. So, but most agents, because they're not the one running the ads and they're just buying leads from lead vendors, they don't actually know what's going on. So they just get frustrated and they're like, these leads suck. It's like, no, you just don't understand how marketing works. There's a million people marketing to these people. So you have two options. You either got to really improve your sales skills and continue to like pivot and move, or you're going to have to like figure out a way to create your own system so you can leverage these things to continue to grow and develop. And you have to understand how like angles from ads as well as angles from copy to creative all the way down to landing page and then also sales, they tie together because it's not people are like, oh well, I'm gonna go over here. It's like, dude, if you go to a different lead type but you don't figure this stuff out as you scale, it doesn't matter because every code can be cracked. The thing is, the simple ones, like I'm using vet and final expense because it's simple. It's so easy to run ads to those people and to get clicks and to get leads. If people get that high, but they're not actually converting. That's why people are so stuck on this. They're like, yeah, I got leads for this price and I closed them, but they charge back. The people aren't really that good. They're really annoying. Like they fill out a million forms. That like it's like, why would you want to deal with that demographic? That's how I look at it, and that's why I'm like, okay, I'd rather go with traditional filing expense. Like people know what it is, and like there's not a million people running ads to it. There has been, but like there probably will be people switching back. There's all these waves. Same thing with like IULs. They were super hot for a year. People like kind of stopped doing them. It's like, okay, nothing is bad about it. And these lead vendors did not mess it up. It's just a million people just tried to copy the same play. And if you just keep copying plays, you never get along. So that's why we always try to stay like when people are going left, we go right. Because the moment that people start going right, we go back left. So we're always just bobbing and weaving away from people because I don't want my clients to be in a position where they're like doing things like everybody else. So if you're an agent or agency owner, you're running your own ads, or you're trying to figure out like do things that other people aren't doing. Do the hard things. Learn how to do annuities. Learn how to write properly structured life insurance plans. Learn how to do infinite banking through whole life. Right? I'm not here to argue whether or not whatever's good or bad. Like, that's not my prerogative. But the purpose of what I'm saying is like learn how to do different things. Don't just say, I'm gonna just do this and I'm only gonna do this. And I'm not saying you can't scale your agency that way. I'm saying that you learn different things because what you will be shocked by is when you switch lead types, a lot of times it's like when you get exposed to something, you can never go back. So the moment you get exposed to a new lead type and you see like, okay, dang, like I get way less leads, I make more money, I get less chargebacks. Like it makes sense to then start selling that to your people. Don't just get caught in what everybody else is doing. Figure out what works for you. Now, this is super important because I've actually found out, right? So I said this would be the lessons and the failures. So these are all the lessons, okay? Now I want to talk about the failures because like I'm not one of these people. Like I don't think everything is just sweet. So I want to talk about the failures of like content. So a few things I've learned. Like people are lazy, man. I'm gonna just call a spade a spade. Like people are lazy and like people won't do so. I hear a lot of people complaining, right? To me, complaints, right? About leads in 2025 going into 2026 is totally on you. Now you're probably like, what do you mean by that? Here's what I understand. I've told you this. People are selling this online, which ironically now there's more people like running ads to do the same thing that I've been talking about for the past 2 years. Is like create your own infrastructure, don't buy from people, have ownership. But anyways, so what I'm trying to get at is most people are complaining about leads in 2025 and 2026. 2026, you can't do that anymore because you can learn how to run ads. You can watch my content. You can watch other people's content. There's tons of other great people out here talking about the same things I'm talking about. There's no more excuses. Like for you to sit down and be like, like these leads aren't good. I'm just going to give up. It's like, okay, there's a few things. Number one, if you can improve your sales. Okay, you can just get better at selling. You probably suck. To be honest, like it's probably not good. Like, and don't make excuses. Like people will be like, "Yeah, man, it's working for other people. It's not working for me." What does that mean? That means you're probably doing things that you're not doing. Are you willing to do those things? Are you actually doing the things that you're saying you're doing? Because there's no way that if you're doing the same thing that they're doing in the same way that they're doing it with this industry, that you don't at least come close. I have people that drastically. I got literally a guy doing 40, 50K a month off vets. I got another person who can't sell anything. Same vet, same ads, everything. I went through and showed that, but I've got tons of other clients, same thing. Mortgage, same thing. Final expense. Like it doesn't matter if somebody's doing really well and somebody's not. They're just doing the things that they're not, and like you can remove all the other extra like emotions out of it because it doesn't really matter. The bottom line is the bottom line, especially in business. So you can improve your sales, right? You can improve your leads. Now, typically, this is going to come in like you buying better leads or you creating your own. Now, what I said is the lessons and the failures. Okay, so the thing that I noticed. This is the only thing you can do. You can prove yourselves or buy better leads. It's just that simple. Like there's really nothing else you could do. Create your own self-gen, whatever you want to call it, like self-gen, hire a team. It doesn't matter. It's all relatively the same. It just depends on who's pulling the lever. The thing I learned is that even with some of our clients, man, people are lazy. People won't actually, like I will tell people like, hey, dude, if you do this, you'll get this. And they'll have an agency of like 5, 10, 15 guys and like nobody will record content, but then they'll be broke or they'll be upset. And it's like, I'm going to be transparent. Like we gave you the blueprint on what to do. You just didn't do it, right? People will complain and say, oh, this is about the leads. And I'm like, I'm telling you what the problem is and how to fix it. You paid for this program, but you're not willing to do the things that it takes. What thing is back to me, because here's the thing. The people that listen to me, they have success. It's like, I literally can go through and explain like everybody. Like I'm just going to go to the website and show you guys because I didn't get to finish this, but I am going to continue to go through here. Like all these people on here that I'm showing, like they listen to me. So because they listen, they have success. It's just that simple. I'm just going to go through here, right? So like Bryson, he listened. They're running branded ads. He's crushing it. Super simple, right? Scotty, I've been working for 3 years. He listened. He runs his own. He has his own infrastructure. He runs his own ad. He's leveraged. When I tell him to record content, he records content. Simple, right? Curtis, same thing. Bought into the program. Told him hop on mortgage protection. Has been consistently writing 20, 30K. Ian, same thing. Came in, said, hey, bro, you need to spend this per month. He used to work with another company that's similar. Ran the same play. Jaden, him and his team, simple. Told him, hey, you need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. Put your guys on this. This is when you transition, right? Who's this? Timothy, right? So essentially, this is just an agent that was doing AIDS leads. But I told him the same thing. I said, you need to buy anywhere between 100, 300 AIDS leads a week. He's constantly crushing it, right? You got Gia. I've been working with her for 3 years. I told her, hey, look, increase your ad spend. She was doing like $50 a day. Increase your ad spend. She's done 15, 20K weeks. Like pretty simple. AJ, I've been working with him for 3 years. We continue to scale. He has his own CRM, his own team. It's basically like has a blueprint for people to make 10K a month, right? Espo, same thing. Came in, was like, hey, you need to spend more. Continue to scale up. Stephen Klumpos actually gave him his own system. He went through, broke down exactly what he needed to do. He wrote 45K. Like after I released him the next month, he did his thing. Tyler, same thing. Been working with him for almost 2 years, consistently writing, and he does final expense. Rafael, same thing. And then there's plenty more that I have on my website, and I won't waste your time because there's other people in here that I do want to break down. But you got like Sharif, You've got Darren. There's a ton of others. But the purpose of what I'm trying to say is, and then we all, even some of our newer clients that like I'm not even mentioning right now, some bigger agency owners that I'll be interviewing that we've been working with, and like the people that just listen to what we're telling them to do, they have success. Like, hey, come in and do this based on your team. You need to do this. If you do this, you'll make more money. They don't listen though. The people that do listen, they win. I give them the script. I tell them what to say, how to say it. Now the failure is that like now I realize I have to just do the work for them. So I'm probably gonna have to charge people a little bit more because I'm gonna have to probably hire somebody to do like a ton of AI stuff because people are just lazy, bro. Like they won't follow up with the leads. They'll call them 3 times. I'm like, bro, you don't really want this. The unfortunate thing though is like they'll blame me, but they won't take any self accountability. And the funny thing is, I have all the data. Like I can see when people call, etc. Like if you call your lead 6 times and you've had it for 2 days, like dude, you're not working, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Like you're not. What are you doing? I mean, unless you're counting a double down, it's like more. But even then, like when I'm like morning, mid morning, afternoon, evening. But there's no way that you just work a lead and you have so many leads that don't pick up. It's like I just know you're not working them properly. Um, or you need to just switch lead type. But either way, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Like, I'll be very clear, like, hey, switch lead type. I tell people all the time, like, dude, you need to go here. This is what you need to do. That's why I always try to get people on higher intent stuff because I know that gets them a higher ROI. People don't want to progress. They don't want to develop. They don't want to go through the learning curve or they don't want to put their team through that. But like, you have to do what you have to do. A lot of these issues and problems that you're running into when it comes to scaling is simply because you're just not willing to give the team or do the things that they need to do to help them. And until you're ready to do that, it doesn't really make a difference. So the goal is that you can create this infrastructure for your team. But for me, the failure on my end is that even when I create the infrastructure, if they don't create the content, it doesn't matter. Because I could give them all the setup, give them the team, tell them how much to spend. If they don't actually do any of the work, what difference does it make? Now, if I do everything right on that other end, and then they don't succeed, they're like, oh, well, it's on you. I'm like, see, there's no trade-off here. It's like either everything works and I'm great, or it doesn't work and I suck. Like there's no middle ground, like where you take accountability. And most people won't do that. They'll never look at themselves in the mirror and say, I didn't do well, which is very unfortunate because you would think that in this industry, with you like selling to people and like their sales reps, that they would kind of have the right perspective, but unfortunately they don't. And that's just something I've learned over time is that people aren't going to take accountability for their actions, but also people are not going to do the things that are really required to get to where you need to get to. Like they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy into it, and they'll pull out their money, their wallet, and pay, which is ironic. So it means one of two things: either I'm not charging them enough, or people really are just lazy, right? And I personally don't think I'm not charging them enough because I think that our retainer fees for like our services can get pretty steep. But the ones that do, they crush it. So yeah, I hope that's like super clear, but at the end of the day, like there's a few things that you need to take away from this. Number one is that demographic content matters. Who you are marketing to really determines what you're doing. So like final expense and VAT, you can get away with more like images. Mortgage and simplified issue, maybe images. But like we start getting specialty niches, it doesn't work as well to like not have somebody in front of the camera and not have scripts and angles that convert. If you're doing final expense, VAT, mortgage, and simplified issue, you need to have an angle that actually positions you different than everybody else. Because otherwise, your cost per lead, the quality of the lead, and the overall conversation and the clientele that you're getting is going to be lesser. So if you want to just make that jump, you got to find a unique way to market to them. Okay, so there's a different in angles for scripts, and then there's a sales pitch, right? So there's vet. These are just examples of vet angles. There's literally tons of them, right? And then you have scripting ad angles, which is essentially just going to be, okay, cool. So this is how you script for the videos or the wording on the ads, and this is how you script for the intro. And because if those two things are not in alignment, then like there's friction. And I always talk about this. If there's friction, now you decrease the likelihood that you can close somebody, and then you increase the likelihood that it's more difficult for a new agent. This is really where that 20% lift comes. When these three things match up, you got a unique angle. You're in a specific niche with a unique angle. You have unique scripting for that angle. And then you have a sales script that ties together. That's when you get 20% lift. If you have any drop off on any of those, it doesn't work. Because if you have a unique angle, but you don't have unique scripting, it doesn't matter. Because the unique angle doesn't get across without the scripting. So they stack on top of each other. If you have a unique angle, or if you don't have a unique angle, you have a general angle, you're just like everybody else. If you have a unique angle and you have unique scripting for the ads, but your phone script isn't in alignment, then you're screwed. Meaning you could do the same thing with the cremation and call and say, hey, state regulated benefits or whatever, and you call people and you get friction because they don't know what it is that they saw. It's not until you hit all three. So you got to have the unique angle, You got to have unique scripting with the angle to make people realize what you're trying to say. The purpose of scripting is to get across the point of what you're trying to say without confusing it or making it sound too basic. So it has to have like a captivating hook. You got to, bring the attention to them, and then you got to be able to get them to take action. So do click, learn more. And then when they click and they fill out, you collect their information, which is a whole other thing, which I didn't go into, which is essentially like what questions to ask, which is also super important. So I'll give you a quick little extra nugget. So depending on what questions that you ask will be dependent on the angle that you have. If you're asking people about final expense plans for cremation, then it would be cool to say something along the line of like, obviously who will be your beneficiary, but you can start adding in extra questions like, what I would do is be like, why do you want to get cremated rather than being buried? Like, that's a wonderful question. Why? Because like it's gonna make people think. It increases the intent drastically. Because like some people will just click through. You're still gonna have those people that click through, but open-ended questions really make people think, and it stops the BS from coming through the cracks. Trust me. Like you're gonna get the people like if they go all the way through, they see a question that's like very direct. It's like, oh snap! Like I don't want to answer that. So you think through that and you say, okay, cool. How do I do that? So instead, all you do is sit down and you say, okay, I got to find unique questions that match with the angle, the angle and the angle scripts, right? Because if you start talking about if you don't pun on the difference between being cremated and being buried, and then run an ad and talk about those two things and do the scripting, and then ask the questions that ask those two things, and then you call, dude, you've got hot leads. Now, you can apply that same methodology for any lead type. The problem is most people don't know how to think through that process because they're like, if you don't know how to market, you can't think through those processes, which goes back to what I said on my way back then. Yes, you can try to do this on your own. And I'm not saying that you have to hire me, but you should hire somebody. If you can't hire somebody who can actually think through these processes, then you can't pivot. Like the only reason we've been able to stay in business the past 3.5 years is simply because we know how to pivot. Like when I took my L, I knew how to bounce back. When a year ago, when I was not in the best place financially because I had a bunch of other stuff going on and the business, etc., I knew how to pivot. I didn't complain. I didn't whine like we were on top of the world a year before. That's cool. It's a part of it. You got to learn that this is a part of business. But now I know that I'm ahead of the curve. So I see okay, everybody else is doing this. I need to do this. What's next though? Because if you're not thinking about what's next, then you can't grow. And you can't think about what's next if you're running the ads, running a team, doing people think that there's oh yeah, I'm going to save money. That's such a scarcity poor mindset. The right mindset is how do I grow my team, myself, and gain leverage? Leverage is how do I not have to, the way I look at it is how can I accomplish things without my own intentions or without my own efforts, but my intentions, right? That's leverage. Okay, I want to make this happen, but I don't want to actually go out and do it. So I gain leverage by hiring people or creating systems that accomplish that for me. Right. So when you have the scripting, you have the angle. You have the angle. I'm sorry. You have the scripting for the angle. You have the right questions, which I guess will be the next one, if anything. And then you have the actual phone script, the sales script. You're in the money. So when you create a sales script around basically the differences between being cremated and being buried, right? Or just cremation in general. And you educate people on how it works, what it looks like, and then you close people. This is how you got to think through. This is how you have to actually think through what you're creating. Most people, once again, will not do any of this at all. Most people that watch this video, y'all won't take action. I hate to say it. You're not going to take action. You won't go hire people. But for the people that do, you're going to change the game. You will make 40, 50K a month as an individual agent. You'll scale your agency to $1 million a month because you have something that other people aren't willing to do. Most people aren't willing to sit down and figure that out, record the videos, help create the landing, either create the landing page or hire somebody to create the landing page. And then on top of that, even if you do everything I just said, guess what the last thing you have to do that most people won't do? And I recorded it yesterday. The only difference between a 40K producer and $1 million a month producer and a person who's not is what? It's their mindset. It's nothing more. It's nothing less. That's it. There's no secret sauce. There's no secret game plan. There's no secret ads. There's no secret anything. It's just their mindset. Are you willing to bet on yourself? The first thing I talked about. People aren't willing to bet on themselves. If you're not willing to bet on yourself, none of this matters anyways, because you're not going to actually do it. You won't actually take the steps to make the difference. But if you do bet on yourself, that's the last thing you have to do. We could create everything I just said, get to the end. Guess what you got to do? You got to spend money on ads, and it may not work. There's a problem. It's most of the time stuff won't work. That's why people are afraid to do things. They're like, what if it doesn't work? It's dude, that's such a poor mindset. I hate to say it. It's that is such a bad mindset. What if it doesn't work? Do you understand what you're saying? What if it doesn't work? What about saying, what if it works? What if it works? Or what happens with saying it has to work or it has to work? Or at least I'm going to make my money back. I'll break even. Like when I pay my mentor 100K, I didn't say, "Oh man, I don't know, bro. In my head, I don't know." I was like, "Nah, it's gonna work." Do I? Is it? It says in there, no guarantees. I filled out like 4 pieces of content about my mentor. Crazy. He sent me like 4 sheets long of like this, no guarantees. Blah blah blah. Blah. I just checked everything because I'm like, bro, my mindset is like, I'm not. I'll never charge back. I'll never complain. I never want. I just work. That's it. I don't make excuses. I just get stuff done. If you're somebody that doesn't make excuses and get stuff done, this will work for you and you will scale. The only difference between those people is that they may not actually come out and tell you that, but they do not care what people think, and they're willing to do stuff that other people won't do. They'll get up earlier, they'll stay later, they'll learn different scripts, they'll pivot when they need to. That's the only difference. They're point blank period. There's nothing else that differentiates those people. And with this, you can't get you can't get to the promised land or get the manna or get to the end result, which is you creating a system, being different, not having to worry about, oh, this person filled out 15 ads, unless you do the things that other people aren't willing to do. If you don't do those things, then like, what difference does it really make? It makes none. It's like, so in my opinion, it comes back to like, dude, what did I say here? Like, it's totally on you. You can't make excuses anymore. Not in the life insurance space with all the stuff that's available. You either buy better leads and you get better, you improve your sales, or you hire a team. And then from there, it's on you to invest in that process. If you are investing in your sales, you better go pay a coach. You better be willing to get in the room, right? It's not just, oh, I'm gonna watch some YouTube videos. Like, dude, there's so much more out there than just like what your agency is telling you about sales. And if you think that that's the only thing that you need, you are sadly mistaken. There's way more leads than what your friends are telling you about. Like, go find people who are good at it. Go work with somebody. Here's the biggest thing is like, dude, if you're building an agency, you're kind of saying you're building a business. If you're building a business where you don't have a marketing division, that makes no sense to me. I don't care what anybody says. That doesn't make any sense. You don't see any successful company ever build a business without having a marketing team. Now, whether or not their marketing team is directly like hired to them or they're just rocking with one person, it's still the same. But if you're hopping from vendor to vendor, that is not rocking with the marketing team. Rocking with a marketing team is either paying somebody a retainer or just buying their leads from them forever. And like, dude, this is what we're gonna work with. Bad days, bad months, snowy. Like, we're gonna figure it out. Because at the end of the day, everything is fixable. The problem is people don't communicate because once again, people are lazy and they're scared. They're not. I don't know. I want to say it. Like, dude, just tell people what you want. If something's going wrong, communicate. Now, you may not like what they have to say and respond, but you got to be willing to do whatever it is on both ends. Because if you're willing to come out your mouth and be like, you know what, this isn't working, you got to be willing to hear like it's not working because of this. Now, whether or not it's on them or not, like you got to be willing to have that conversation. And if they're like, hey, bro, like what I'll tell my clients a lot of times when they complain, it's about things that can be changed. And then I'll let them know what they have to do to change it. And they can choose to do it or not do it. So it's like, oh, these leads aren't good. And I'm like, okay, well, you haven't recorded content for me. So like, where are we going? So then they record the content, like, oh, well, I recorded the content, but, and I'm like, okay, cool. Well, the complaint that you're dealing with is something we can fix or we can't. So if you're called, like people will be like, yeah, I'm dealing final expense. They're broke. I'm like, it's final expense. Do you expect to have money? Oh, I'm calling mortgage protection. They don't pick up. Yeah, they're homeowners. They're busy. Do you expect them to pick up their phone? They're not home all the time. Oh, I'm dealing with vets. They don't remember stuff. Yeah, a lot of them are, they have mental illnesses. Like there's a lot of other things going on. Like, did you not expect that? Did you expect them to be like mortgage clients, but easy, like final expense and close like IULs? Like, I don't know what you're thinking. Like, it doesn't make sense. Oh, I want to do annuities, but they're too difficult. It takes too long to pay out. Cool. Then you're not patient. Like for everything that you make a complaint about or an excuse, there's a better way. Because here's the thing. Like I'll have somebody that's got a brand new agency. All they do is final expense Facebook forms. They're killing it. They don't complain about anything. They were like, hey, we kind of like the vet, but I would rather just do filing. I'm like, dude, just do what's working. And I told him, like, dude, do this. This is working. I have other people that are doing vets and filing expense and mortgage, and they can't sell a lick. And they're like looking at me, and I'm like, hey, you know what's funny? I have all these Discord channels with all these clients and all these agents, and all I see on here is like, you know what? Ironically, I see these people making sales. They're running the same ads, same copy, same creative, same states, but you're not. I'm like, is it you? Or is it the leads? And I'm like, it can't be the leads because if they're working for somebody else, they're not working for you, then it's you. And most people don't want to hear that. So I hate to say it, but that's the truth. And the failures that I've learned is that I gave a lot of people too much credit and people are just inherently lazy. And I hate to say it, they're just inherently lazy. And content, I will be doing more to help them, but they're still lazy. Like, because I would like, even if someone was like, hey Trey, you can do all this AI stuff. Like I would still want to get in front of the camera because it's still real. Because like the easiest thing to think about is you attract the people that you want. If you want high net worth individuals, do you think a high net worth individual is seeing a still image and filling it out and putting information? I'm not. But see, that's the problem. I said this in the last video. If you don't see yourself that way, you can't attract that way, right? It's just a simple law of attraction. Like, you are what you attract. Super simple. If you're not somebody that shows up, if you're not consistent, you're not disciplined, do you think that you're going to find those recruits? Do you think that if you don't record content that you're going to get people who want people who don't record content? That don't even make sense. Would you pay somebody a life insurance policy or do an annuity with somebody that won't get in front of camera? No. So that's why the difference between the people that are successful and unsuccessful, people that are successful, they do the things they need to do. Meaning that if I tell them to go record content because of XYZ, it makes sense to them. They don't make excuses and say, oh, no, you need to record content because more people will fill it out because they trust you, right? Like, if you see all these images, what I show you, a bunch of images, guess what you didn't see? A bunch of agents in front of the camera. Guess what? If a bunch of agents would get in front of the camera, what would probably happen? They would probably succeed. They would probably sell. They would probably do better. Why? Because it's different. And most people aren't willing to do that. Most people are just lazy. Like, they're not willing to do it. So like, yeah, we could create AI, we could do all this stuff. But if like, that will become another thing. There's one thing that you can't change. It's like, people are lazy. So if you take the lazy way out or pay for it, that's fine. But the differentiating factor is going to be how you can actually come in and create a more consistent overall approach for your team and for your agency. So as always, please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Hope this video helped. Hope it was detailed. Hope I was able to explain enough to really help you move if you're currently trying to grow or trying to build. If you're looking to partner, if you think that this could be useful, if you'd like for us to potentially like kind of walk you through what this would look like, please go to the website and apply. Now, I'll be super clear. Like, if you're going to go to the website, you need to be doing at least $150,000 to $200,000 a month. You need to have at least 4 writers who are doing 20 to 30K a month. Because one thing I'm not going to do is I'm going to be honest. If you just want leads and you want to see what the price is, prices typically start at about 5K and then go upwards. I'm not going to waste your time. I'll be super transparent. Like, I don't have time to sit here and tell you like, oh, we're going to sell you. Like, dude, if you're serious, you can apply. We'll see if you want to work with you. If not, that's cool too. But like, just honestly, if you want leads, go to Lead Lab CRM. You can fill out a lead request. One of us will reach out to you. Like, it's super simple, but don't book a call if like you're not doing that, guys. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna be honest, we'll probably cancel it. And I'm not trying to be an a-hole. I'm not canceling it to say you can't work with us. I'm just canceling to say that's just not the right fit, right? If you're doing less than that, it just doesn't make sense. You're not gonna have enough money to invest with us on top of ad spend, right? Now, if you're not doing that and you do have the money, you're like, yo, Trey, I'm willing to do it. Like, that's cool too, but like, be super clear on your form. You guys already kind of know what it is. If you've watched 42 minutes into a video, you probably like what I have to say. I'm just being transparent. So you probably should book a call, or at least like go buy leads. You don't really need to talk to me to buy leads, guys. You just go there. You be like, lead request. All the information on lead is there. It's basic for a reason, because there's no point in me explaining a bunch of stuff on the page when half the people are going to click submit and forget what it is anyways. They're going to ask questions on the back end. So we don't waste our time. We had all this stuff on here. I had people scrolling past literally buttons that clearly explained what it is. What's the subscription? How does it work? What's the discount? People would just scroll past. I was like, all right, I'm done giving people stuff, because once again, people are lazy. They don't want to do the things they need to do. So because of that, we just simplified it. So you can go Lead Lab CRM, or to get the leads. Really simple packages, $1 to about $55 a lead. We got everything that you can kind of imagine. And then you can go to agentleadlab.com. And on that website, you'll have a book a call button. If you're an agent if you're an agency owner doing 150 to 200K plus per month and have 3 to 4, I say like 3 to 4, like writing agents that are doing 20, 30K. I don't want you to have like 2 agents doing 30K and you're doing 30 and you're making 100, because it's not going to make sense financially for you to work with us. It's not. Like, we've tried it. I've been trying to be lenient, and it's just like, it doesn't work. They don't last long. And it really doesn't feel right to me, because you don't have the money to really pay for it. And you still have to pay for ad spend. Right. And people aren't really making the money that they're saying they're making. So it's like, you don't really have 100 and 200K. You got more like, you're making like 20K a month, like actually hitting your bank account net positive. So yeah, hope that makes sense. But as always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.